Hey everyone, I'm going to go over the exact content formula that has allowed me to book up to $70,000 of sales in 1 month. And to be honest, this is the same thing that I've used to sell over $500,000 in digital products, have generated over 75 leads in a few months, and honestly just completely revolutionized and changed my business. So through this training, I'm going to go over how this content formula has actually generated 3 times more leads for me in my business. It's also reduced my content creation time by over 75%. At one point, there was actually a time where I was only creating content 1 hour per week, and that's pretty standard in my business. One time I went 3 months without creating any content at all whatsoever and still was booking leads and clients. So I'm going to take you and show you that, as well as how this content formula will actually take take strangers on the internet and make them buyers in less than a week. So I've had clients sign up to work with me in less than a week, sometimes within the same day. And because this content formula will actually condense the nurturing process significantly. So you don't have to wait 6 months to a year for all your clients. They can be coming in within only a few weeks. As a bonus, I'm also going to be showing you the type of marketing content that is not doing you any favors, and quite frankly, it's just wasting your time because it's not attracting clients and it's just making you be on the constant treadmill of the hamster wheel of making content all the time. And then I'm also going to be showing you a few of the mistakes I made throughout my business that I'm going to save you a bunch of time and a bunch of effort by not having to go through that. So let's get started. And just so you know that I'm putting my money where my mouth is, you can see a couple results. You can see on the right, that's $50,000 booked in 1 month. That doesn't include the PayPal sales. We've got sales calls. I've been able to book them, a bunch in a day. You can see down below, that's one funnel I've had that I've used this content formula, and it's generated over 400,000 in sales. And I have several other funnels that also use this. And then you can also see from some of my clients, you can pause to read these, but I've had many clients hit over $10,000 per month. You can see here that just one post using this method, they got 1 paid client. So you can see that this formula can work very quickly. Some people, if they have an audience already created, which most of my clients do, and that's who I like to work with, you already have an existing audience. It doesn't have to be huge. But if you've been posting content and nurturing them, oftentimes you just need the right type of content to attract and pull new clients in. Again, pause this and read. But you can see that just after creating one piece of content based on this formula, people are having new clients come out of the woodworks that were in their audience or email list or wherever they were, and they come. There's people that are getting 6-figure coaching deals. This one, she was originally, charging $750 and now is able to charge $14,000 per project. So this is a formula that changes your business and helps you create not only more clients, but also increase your prices. You can see, here we've got retainers. More, again, go ahead and pause. We have people creating their first $1,000 months. $5,000 a month. That's simple. I just like to add these in just to kind of show you across the board. This works for any type of price range. You just want to be creating the right content. Now, here's what most people's businesses look like. And to be honest, this is exactly what mine looked like at the beginning as well, is that people are spending all these hours creating content. And most of them, over 75% of that time and that content created, is just wasting time because it's not actually converting your clients. It's not helping your potential clients get to a buying decision. This is the valuable content that people are making, and really you should be expanding this to 100%, almost 100% of your content creation time. So if your content, the amount of hours you are spending creating content is not matching the amount of leads you're creating, then something's off. So back when I was, starting my business, I was posting content all the time. I was creating webinars. I created 4 webinars, okay? Because everyone said they work, and they honestly do work, but I didn't know how to form the content within it to make it convert. I was attempting to run ads. I spent over $700 wasting ads, barely got any opt-ins. None of them converted into clients whatsoever. So obviously the content in my ad was not working. I was creating blog posts. I was doing live videos. I was just trying to put myself out there, create a bunch of content because I remember being told that, just put yourself out there, get visible, and the clients will come. And I was making very little consistency in sales. Like I remember using this email sequence, and I rewrote it 4 times because it was not converting. No one was becoming a client. And I was using these templated emails, and I'm sure they were amazing. They were great, but I did not understand how to insert the value. I was not formulating the content and creating it and writing it in a way that made sense to my ideal clients. So the truth about this formula is that once you understand this formula, once you can put it together and you learn how to speak about your content, the types of content, the topics, they will transform anything you do. So not only your posts, once you learn this, you can create a great webinar or a training, you can create great emails. This goes into all of your content, because the problem with any of those marketing strategies, whether it be trainings or live videos or posts or emails, whatever it is, if it's not converting, the problem is your content. You're not using the right content formula. You're just putting out different types of content that aren't working for you. And we'll talk about that as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the content formula for you, the same one that I teach my clients. I'm going to do this for free so that you can implement it in your own business. And then at the end, if you're like, hey, I want help implementing this, then I'm going to break down my offer and how we can potentially work together. All right, one of the biggest content mistakes that I see out there is a very outdated strategy, and that is creating lots of value, lots of educational content, tips and tricks, and this strategy is so outdated. So this used to be taught like 20 years ago, back when Facebook and Instagram weren't even really around. It was all blog posts. And the idea behind it is that you would prove how knowledgeable you are about your subject, and then people would come to work with you. And 20 years ago, this worked amazing because there was barely any service providers out there. But nowadays, every industry is very saturated. There's lots of coaches, and this tactic just doesn't work anymore. And the problem is that these strategies were taught many years ago, and they've been taught to new generations of coaches, and so it's still being taught. The other thing is that since most people are doing this in their content, other people will just kind of look at other people's content and think, oh, this is what you're supposed to do. Just flood the market with as much information as you can, prove that you're knowledgeable, and then people will hire you. And yes, you can get a client here or there, but this is the majority of the type of content that you can spend 10 hours a week creating every week, and you are not doing yourself justice, because this does not show your client that you can actually help them. What you're doing is you're putting yourself out there as someone who's helpful. You're like, oh, that's helpful. That's a nice tip. Oh, that's cool. But it's not coming across as someone that can help them. They're not reading your content and thinking, oh, they can actually help me fix this problem I have. So you're putting yourself out there as like informational, for fun tips and tricks type of person. And we do not want to do that. I'm like big into the holistic health world, and the amount of people that I follow that are sharing like, oh, these types of workouts or these helpful recipes, or hey, the nice tip about this supplement and how it can help you. Like, they're giving me information, they're giving me all this type of stuff that I can learn, but it's not telling me. I was never convinced of like, hey, I want to sign up to work with this person because I just know that they can help me. All they were doing was just giving me fun facts, and that's what I saw them as. I was like, oh, I see another post of theirs. This is interesting. Let me read it. Okay, let me move on. I'll go implement that. And see if it works. And that's the other problem is if that small little tip doesn't work for them, like let's say a supplement, you say, oh, this supplement will help you fall asleep easier at night, will help you do X, Y, and Z. If it doesn't work for them, which can very easily happen because, supplements are different for different people, well, now they're going to think, oh, that didn't work for me, so I don't know if their information is helpful for me. When, most people are going to know that one small supplement is not going to help the majority of the people. It's a much bigger issue at hand. So you're really downselling yourself. You're really hurting yourself and not providing the value and showing your value of how you can help transform a person's life. Okay, this is another big one I see being taught, and that's basically influencer marketing. And that's the whole thought of just show up enough in your stories, on your videos, and the posts, and eventually grow an audience big enough, and then you'll start getting clients and sales. And yes, this does work, and this works for the people who are willing to put in the many, many man hours to grow a huge audience and put in the months and years in order to do that. But if you're here, you're likely not one of those people. You don't want to wait 5 years to have an audience of 100,000 people, and you're not wanting it to be a numbers game, because if you're doing influencer marketing, you're likely depending on people thinking, liking your personality or liking, your lifestyle. But they're not really getting to know your process and how you can actually help them. So you're banking on this perception of, oh, they're very helpful because they have 100,000 followers. Well, what about everybody who doesn't have those followers yet? So the people I'm helping with my content, it's people with less than 5,000 followers, but obviously if you have more than that, then that's huge. That's great to tap into. But we don't want to be waiting till you have 100,000 followers in order to make money. We need, this formula will help you, make sales even if you have less than 5,000 followers. All right, this is the last and final one I'm going to go through, even though there's many more, but I don't want this training to be more than an hour. I'm trying to keep it short. So I'm just going to go over this last one. It's creating content based on mentors who are teaching you how to create content, but they don't realize that they don't understand how to market. And now let me explain this because this one's complicated. So this is all from personal experience. I worked with someone who started Facebook ads back in 2010, and that's how they were able to grow their business. I worked with another one who she was able to get media mentions, and she was really good at launching. And so it kind of catapulted and launched her into having like 1 million followers, and she was able to play the numbers game and make a lot of good money from that. But both of these examples, they started teaching other people how to create content that converts to sales, but they didn't actually themselves realize that it wasn't their content that was making them sales. It was the fact that they were really good at growing their audience in the media, or that they were really good at Facebook ads back in the day, and that got them a huge audience. And again, once you have a huge audience, it's super easy to make sales, but we're talking about the people with smaller audiences, right? So not that they were trying to purposely deceive or anything. I'm not saying that. They were really good at what they were doing, but they shouldn't have been teaching how to create content that converts. They should have been teaching how to get media mentions, or how to do Facebook ads, or something along those lines. And so if you're learning content from people who don't realize that it wasn't their content who got them to where they are today, it was other modes and modalities, that's where you want to be careful who you're learning your content from. So now let's start getting into the teaching about this 6-part content formula that's going to change your business. Because we want to veer away from what we just talked about. You can tell there's lots of marketing strategies or tactics out there that people are teaching, but this is the only one you really need to know. Like, if you learn this content formula, then you will be successful in any type of strategy you try to implement. And likely in your audience, you have clients waiting there to hire you, but you're just not putting out the right content. You likely have a lot of clients who are sitting there waiting, and after 30 days of implementing this, often much sooner, you've seen, in the past screenshots, I've had clients have people sign up to work with them after 1 post. So that's very possible. But in general, if you haven't been nurturing your audience, then it'll take about 30 days to really start taking effect. So this is really going to work for all the people who don't have lots of money for ads. If you don't have a huge audience and you're just trying to play a numbers game, if you don't have relationships with other big gurus who are sending you, leads and everything. Although if you have any of these, even better. I mean, you're going to be able to 10x your results even quicker. But this works for any level, whether you have a smaller audience or a bigger audience. Like, this will double and triple your leads and sales. So you're going to get the easy way. I'm literally going through this content formula with you right now. It's helped me get to multiple 6 figures. My clients get to multiple 6 figures. So it's time to just get rid of everything else and just learn this one thing. If you can just learn this one content formula, this will completely change how you run your business. It's going to save you so much time. It's going to make you so much more money. And you just need high quality marketing content. and just post it 1 time per day. Okay, so anything else that you're working on right now, honestly, if you don't have this nailed down, it's just going to be a waste of your time. So if you're trying the ads, if you're trying to put webinars together, if you're trying to put, emails together like I did way back in the day, it's just going to waste your time if you don't have this formula nailed down and understood. Okay, so get out your notes, get out your pen and pad, start taking notes from here. This is where you're going to want to start taking some notes down so you can remember this for later. So this content formula literally started creating 3 more leads, or 3 times more leads for me once I switched to this. I got rid of a lot of the fluffy content, and I started shifting my perspective to only doing this, only writing this. And then I really made this to be 80 to 90% of what I publish. Every once in a while, I'll have like an inspirational post or, something that kind of goes outside the lines. I'm not saying you can't do it, but 80 to 90% of my content follows this format because I'm all about, focusing on what actually works, putting your time into what actually works. So you'll want to have 80 to 90% of your content follow this formula. So what is so good about this 6-part content formula? 1, it's actually talking to people who are looking for help and they're ready to buy. We aren't looking for the people who need to be nurtured for a whole year, 2 years. We're looking for people we're speaking to people who know they need help. They're just looking for the right person to help them. And this format is going to naturally compel them to want to know more about how you can actually help them. And really, when you look at all the objections and sales objections, your content should be handling all those. You want your content to handle more sales objections so that you never have to come across any of them in your sales calls, because you want people to come to your sales calls basically pre-sold. They just need to have a couple questions answered. You need to find out, are they a right fit for your program? It should be a very simple conversation. So the more content they can consume of yours following this format, the easier and quicker and better your sales calls are going to be. So let's talk about this. The first part is super easy. It's the headline or the hook. It's what, and you've probably heard about this. If you've been creating content, then you know you need to have a hook. You need to have a headline for your piece of content. So this is the easy part. Number 2 is presenting a false belief of your ideal client. So this is really important. What we want to be doing is shifting their perspective. We want to show them the other side to things. We want to show like, how have things not been working for them, or why have they not been working for them? And that really dives into number 3. But we want to present this belief to them, something that they haven't even realized is going on in their mind that they've been doing incorrectly. And then we next want to show, why is it incorrect? We need to prove. We can't just say that something isn't right and it's not working for them and this is why they're not getting results. We need to now prove it and show them why this is happening. So on top of that, we don't just want to like present the problem with them in this false belief that's happening, when they're trying to get to their outcome. We also need to present a solution to the belief. So many people are not pointing the solution in their content, and I'll give you a huge hint here. The solution is your program. Your program needs to be the answer every time. If it's other things, I see so much content that are like, oh, go download this app to help you with this, or go, do that. You're pointing to solutions that are outside of your program, and that is not helpful. That is not pointing them to you as the provider and as the expert to their problems. So you've presented this belief, you show why that this is true, and now you want to present your solution, and the solution is your program every time. That's like a huge thing. After you present the solution, you want to show the benefits of once they fix this problem or this false belief, once they do this, what are the benefits? How is this going to directly alter their life, their business, their health, their personal relationships? You need to show, like, how does this benefit them? Because this makes it very real of how this whole answer is going to change their life. And you need, if you can't assume that people understand this, you need to write it out and make it plain as day. And then number 6, the 6th piece is the easy part, a call to action. Everyone knows call to action. You want to tell them what's next, what should they do. what is the next step for them to take. So I want to ask you, just think, how much of your content is following this? Like, how much of your content is following this pattern? Or is it just kind of like regurgitating facts? So I want you to really think about this. If you need to pause this video, go back to the 6 steps, go through and like compare your content and see if that's what you're doing or not. So I want to tell you about Nicole. She had an audience of 900 people in her email list. And after 30 days of creating content using this 6-part formula, she booked over $25,000 of sales. And she had 0 clients for 4 months prior to that. And she actually made more in that first month than she had the entire prior year. So she was really wondering during COVID, hey, are people even going to buy, this service? Because she thought that her service was, she was a personal stylist. So she thought, are people really going to buy this during COVID when maybe they need to focus their finances on other things? No, her ideal client was sitting there waiting in her inbox. They were waiting to buy. They just needed the right content to tell them that Nicole could help them. So we can see now with step 1 is you really want to be using that content formula. Once you start doing that and stop focusing on the engagement type or the fluffy or the, the tips and tricks, educational type stuff, and just start focusing on the 6-part content formula, you will start calling in your premium clients. All right. So the next step is how to get off the content creation treadmill and how to start spending less time creating content. So you're not just like all over the place constantly creating content, because we need you working with your clients and not being a content creation, queen or king, because the reality is like you wanted to start this business to start helping your clients, right? You did not want to become, have this whole other side hustle of becoming a marketing master, right? So here's what you do. 1, you start creating your content with a 6-part content formula in mind. And then you're going to use this next strategy of mine. I call it a strategy, but it's really easy, you guys. The portfolio strategy, so that we're going to reduce your future content creation time. All right. And here's how we're going to do it. If you create 1 piece of content every single day that is managing people's objections, that's shifting their perspectives, their beliefs, that's handling the problems that they're having in their day-to-day life, business, health, relationships, whatever it is, then after 100 days, you're going to have 100 pieces of this content, super effective, incredible, and now you're going to have that in a folder that you can pull from any time. And I kind of discovered this at, on an accident, because I was going on vacation for 3 weeks, and I was like, I just know how I am. I'm not going to be in the mindset to be able to create new content every day. I was going to be jet lag. I was going across the ocean, 12 hours difference. I was like, I'm going to be too tired. I'm probably going to have some brain fog. I won't be able to create content. So what I did was I pulled all my best pieces of content from the past, and I just told myself, I'm going to repost these. Okay. And it worked. I was still signing clients while I was on vacation, and I was not creating any new content. And I was kind of shocked myself, like, oh, that's crazy. Like, how is this working? But I want to tell you, like Jeff Walker, he was the one who really solidified this whole concept in my mind. He said, and this makes so much sense, you have to have the mindset of creating things 1 time. So you want to create this content 1 time, it's really good, and then you reuse it over and over again. Because if you don't, you're going to burn out. So you want to spend the time to create these solid pieces of content. And now you have them in your portfolio that you can pull from and use over and over and over again. And this is going to save you hours and hours of time. This is how I actually went 3 months without creating any new content, but I just kept sending the same content out, and I still generated 75 leads in 3 months. So I know you're going to say, there's going to be lots of people saying, oh my goodness, everyone's going to notice if I do that again. I'm just telling you, no one is going to notice. There's tons of people who are there. No one is going to be reading every single post you send or every single email you send. It's just not going to happen because people are going to miss things. People don't open every single email that you send. And they might not even open several emails. It might be a couple months. You never know. But what you want to do is have everything put together so that you can send it. Maybe you change the topics, Maybe you change the format. Maybe you take it from a piece of content to making it a video. Whatever it is, people are not going to notice. And plus, even if they do read it twice, if you have it spaced out 6 months apart, no one's going to remember probably, because people need the repetition. They need to keep understanding the concepts and read it several times in order to get it and get the new concepts. So I promise people are not going to notice, and if they do, it literally doesn't matter. It does not matter at all. And as I said, mine was kind of an accident. It was when I went on vacation. I was going for 3 weeks, going to be in another country. So I just reused it, and I still get sales. And like, honestly, I now am at a point where I only spend 1 hour a week making new content. And I'm repurposing almost everything, because the content topics do not get old. It does not time out. It's not like, lifestyle content that you can't post again. These are solid pieces of content that you can reuse time and time and time again. All right, so to recap, we want to only be focusing on creating content using the 6-part content formula, because this is what converts. You attract more leads, premium clients, more sales. And to be honest, most people are writing a lot of fluffy content, a lot of engagement, or personal lifestyle stuff, or tips and tricks education content, which is taking a long time. They're wasting a lot of man hours, and should be including that way less often. Maybe 1 out of 10 posts should be any of that, except for the tips and tricks. I would never recommend the tips and tricks. Next, create the portfolio of this content. Most people have never reused anything that they've done, and that's a huge problem, a huge time waster. And then you want to start reusing it over and over again, reformat it or repurpose it into other formats like videos or trainings or whatnot. And then eventually get to a place where you're not spending more than 1 hour creating content ever again. Okay, this is the final piece where steps 1 and 2 come together, and we can actually take a complete stranger on the internet who's never heard of you, has never seen your profile, never seen any of your content, and turn them into a buyer in less than a week. This happens quite regularly. I would say up to 50% of my clients, they'll tell me, yeah, I just found you. I booked a call. I binged on all your content, and then they become a client within a week. So it's very regular. And the reason this works is because you want to create the topics that appeal to them, right? And they're ready to buy, they're in the buying mindset, and you're able to create this whole system where they're able to binge on your content. So let's talk about how that works. We want to understand the customer journey, where they are mindset wise, and how to cut that journey off by 90%. We don't want to wait about a whole year, 2 years for them to slowly become ready. We want to accelerate that pathway and only talk to the people who are ready to buy so that they can make a buying decision super fast, super quick. We want to be talking to the people who are actively looking for an answer to the problem that they're seeking. So we want to speed up that decision to work with them, and let me show you how that works. We're going to get your client avatar to binge read or binge watch your 6-part content formula content and lay out that perfect conversion path for them. So why does this work? Think about Netflix. When you watch the first episode of a show, if you like that show, you're going to continue watching the next series, right? If you don't like that first episode, then you're not going to watch that show anymore. You're going to move on to a different one. This is exactly what we're forming and setting up with this system, is that when your ideal clients come across your path and read a couple of your posts, then they can continue binging on all your other content. We want to have that accessible for them. It's very easy how we can lay it all out. That way they can binge on 30 to 40 pieces of content. And I've noticed that 30 is the low end of what we want them to be able to consume from you. It's better if people consume 40 to 50 pieces of content. That's when people become motivated buyers. They're ready. They know enough about your process, and your sales calls get really easy. Like, you don't need to convince people to buy. They've already been able to make a decision on their own, and it's not a high pressure sale. People are making the decision, and on the sales call, you're able to figure out, are they a good client for you? So then it becomes a simple conversation, and you aren't like doing all these hardcore sales tactics, because I don't like those personally. So how do we do this? Secret number one, the 6-part content formula. You learned how to do that. 2, post on social media Monday through Friday at least. If you can do 7 days a week, even better. But you want to get 5 new pieces of content out every week. So you can do Instagram, you can do Facebook, you can do emails, whatever it is that you use, just use that. Just make sure that your content is now accessible to your audience and ideal client. So once they come across one piece of content, now they can go and binge and go through all your other content and go through this accelerated conversion path. So motivated buyers, people who are ready to purchase, are going to go through that path. They're going to binge read and binge consume all your content because it makes so much sense to them and it's not just fluffy or educational. All right. So here's one of my clients, Carol. What we did is we actually set up her content so that when people came across her profile, they were now able to consume a bunch of her other content. And once we did this, within 3 days, she had 2 clients sign up to work with her because it was so easy for them. And she was very shocked at how quickly it worked. But that's exactly what you want. Like when those people are ready to buy, people are ready to buy. You do not want to hold them up from being able to make a buying decision because, to be honest, if they cannot consume your other content, they're going to go somewhere else. And that's why you'll see people, maybe they came to you, talked to you, but then they went and hired someone else really quick because those people are ready to buy. You do not want to drag them or string them along. Give them the content they need in order to find out more about you and make a buying decision. When you figure out how to implement this 6-part content formula and you're doing it effectively, only then do you want to start branching out and looking into building a webinar or training or a funnel or paid advertising, because it's not going to work or make sense until you fully understand this. Because I can tell you, like, I used to make funnels at the beginning in my first year of business, second year even, and they didn't convert. Like, no one was opting in. No one was doing what I wanted. They weren't following the call to actions. Like, it was a waste of my time for me to figure out all that tech because I did not understand the content piece. You literally can use this formula once you understand the way of thinking of it. You use this everywhere. You use this in everything you make and create, so that when you do make a webinar or a funnel, it now becomes an asset, a long-term asset that you can use over and over again in your business. So that you're not creating new videos or new trainings or new webinars every week or every month. That just seems exhausting. You want assets that last for a long, long time. Learning this content formula and this way of thinking of how to present content is the reason that I can spend less than a couple hours per week on my content. Just building that portfolio, using what Jeff Walker said, not burning out, and being able to use these assets over and over again. So it's also how I've been able to max out my Roth 401, add to my stocks, have other investments. We've even started dabbling in real estate now. I can travel and not have to worry about like creating new content and, being able to honestly serve my clients with more of my time and brain power without having to be stressed or, thinking about like all this other content creation I need to be coming. I can spend more dedicated time with my clients, which is ultimately what I want. It also allows me to just take personal breaks in my business for personal reasons, and I don't have to worry or be stressed about anything. This is exactly the business I imagined when I first started out, and it's finally been able to come into fruition ever since I implemented this content formula. So if you want to get access to my brain and talk to me about, learning this 6-part content formula and implementing it to your business, go ahead and book a call in the link below. There'll also be a link down below that you can click on as well if you don't want to type this in yourself. But you'll get direct access to me in a call, my brain. We can go through your business and your marketing, see what's not working, what is working, and how we can shift your marketing to start attracting more leads and more sales in your business, because we want you to be getting sales consistently and doing it in less time, because over time, we need you to be building and growing your business, not just maintaining and staying where you are. So you can totally try and implement everything I just taught you on your own. I mean, please be my guest. Honestly, you'll be able to do it 10 times faster and much better with my help, because I'll be there every step of the way, looking at your content, helping you tweak it. I'll be showing you the topics according to your ideal client and your offer. We're going to be taking a look at that together, and I'm there step by step of the way, showing you what to change and what needs to happen. Main goal by the end of my program is to be spending 75% less time creating and posting content. I would even say even more, but I like to be conservative. I spend 90% less time creating and posting content. We also want to shorten the amount of time that a stranger or your audience member is sitting there to becoming a client. We want to make it less than 30 days, but after you get really good at this, it'll likely a lot of times be less than 7 days. We also want to build that revenue consistency and start creating those $10,000 to $30,000 months so that you can grow from there. And we don't want to be adding new crazy tactics. We just want to focus on what you're doing right now, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, whatnot, even paid advertising. If that's working for you, we're going to grow it and expand it so that you can get more leads and more sales. Because honestly, right now, I can almost guarantee you have people in your audience who are ready to become your client. They're just sitting there waiting for the right content from you so that they can make the buying decision. We want to get 30 days of posting your sales-driven content so that we can get you to your biggest month yet in your business, and then sustain that and continue to grow your audience and your sales. Because right now I can almost definitely say you're spending 5 to 10 extra hours in your business creating content that you're either not able to reuse, that's not converting, that's extra fluffy, and it's not creating sales. We want to quit that and streamline your business and your effort and your time. Overall, I have spent over $134,000 in mentors, courses, coaches, masterminds. I've worked with really high-level copy, direct response copywriters. I picked their brain. I've been able to really refine my process over the past 5 years to be able to help other people do this much faster than I was able to. And I really would have died to get access to someone like me that is able to offer you this today. So even, jumping on a 30-minute call to figure out like a couple things is going to be a huge benefit to you. So go ahead, click the link below, submit an application. We'll see if we're a good fit to work together. And I'm excited to talk to you guys.